Coming up on Mountain News this morning, we bring you the latest on cleanup efforts from Sunday's storms that left thousands with no power. And we take you to Leslie County, where one cleanup project in the works since February is back to square one after being flooded again this past weekend. And as we continue to fight the COVID-19 pandemic, more drive-through testing centers are coming to Kentucky.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning. The time is now 6:03 and my name is Lacey Roberts. Thank you for joining us on Mountain News this morning. While thousands are still without power in that dark, we are asking Brandon if you can come in here, and we all are asking you the question if those storms are going to continue, if we're going to get a little bit of break so that hopefully they can get that power back on.
Well, we won't see any more storms for the next little bit, but those power crews are going to have to deal with some chill and maybe even some scattered moisture today, whether it be rain or snow heading into the afternoon, evening, and overnight hours. Let's take a look at what we're seeing right now. Last few hours, now we're seeing it already out there in some locations, but again, it's the age-old question: is it actually reaching the ground? And if it is, the only places in our area to be seeing it right now is maybe parts of Pulaski and Wayne counties. For the most part, it's staying into parts of central Kentucky this morning, maybe Rock Castle County there just a little bit too. If you didn't know how cold it's going to be tomorrow morning, we've been talking about that all morning. There's a freeze warning that goes into effect late tonight through tomorrow morning. It's different start times and different end times thanks to 3 different National Weather Service offices that serve our region. But again, that just kind of gives you an idea who's included, and it's basically the only folks who are not included at this point is Lee and Wise counties in Virginia and Claiborne and Campbell counties in East Tennessee. And it would not surprise me if they are added by the end of the newscast. Let's take a look at those temperatures this morning. 34 Harlan, 32 Williamsburg, 35 Middlesboro. Everybody else in the mid to upper 30s and low 40s this morning, but still anywhere from 23 to almost 30 degrees cooler than it was this time yesterday. That trend will continue. Scattered chances for rain this afternoon as we struggle to get to 50, and then after that, that rain could transition over to snow before it gets out of here tonight as we get down into the low 30s for overnight lows. We'll take a look at the rest of the forecast coming up here in a little bit. Lacey?
Thank you, Brandon. Now here's a look at the hardest hit areas without power after Sunday's storms. At one point yesterday, nearly 70,000 people were left in the dark, and about 1/3 of Kentucky Power's customers did not have power Monday morning. While power has started to return for some in the region, many others will have to wait a little longer. Their crews tell us it could take days to return electricity to all homes and businesses. The extent of damage is rare here in eastern Kentucky, and as the sun rises this morning, many of us are still without power. For a look at the impact on the power grid, we turn to WYMT's Madison Pergram.
The long night.
A night many did not expect as strong winds ripped through the region.
Of course, I heard the storm last night, but I didn't hear the crash or anything.
Astor Sizemore walked out of his home to see trees uprooted.
I couldn't believe it.
Others tangled in power lines.
All the power's off here, but we've been trying to get this tree out of the street so people could get by and get the tree off the power lines there. You could see in the background where the trees had actually knocked down the power lines.
Sizemore is just one of the tens of thousands left without power after the storm.
We have 500 employees and contractors out today working to assess and fix the damage.
Allison Barker with Kentucky Power says they understand the need to get power restored quickly.
And we've asked for additional help from outside of the state of Kentucky.
As people are at home because of the coronavirus, more people deal with the effects of the outage. But Sizemore has spent most of his time outside.
I haven't had a chance yet. I've been out here all morning. We've been doing this since about 9 o'clock.
Continuing to clean up what the storm left behind. In Perry County, Madison Pergram, WYMT Mountain News.
Now, several companies continue to work to restore power to people sitting at home. Allison Barker with Kentucky Power also says that people need to focus on their safety.
Don't want people to get hurt in this situation, so just assume any line is logged and reported, and we'll get to it as quickly and as safely as we can.
More than 10,000 Kentucky Power customers have seen their power restored since this all began. And Perry County may have some of the most widespread damage after those storms. Focusing in on the Lothar community, houses were knocked off their foundation, roofs were ripped off homes, and trees and debris are down everywhere. Some were repairing their homes yesterday, while others were still assessing the damage. One man who was in his home when it was knocked off the foundation said he felt the wind pick up the home, moving it about 2 feet.
The way that it was rocking back and forth, I thought for a minute we would turn over, but instead the winds just picked it up, moved it over, and set it back down.
Now, there were no injuries reported in Perry County as a result of the storm damage. And gas stations yesterday saw a sudden rush. At one point on Monday, there was only one gas station in Perry County with power. This was the line as people waited in Jeff. Many people told us they needed gas for their generators. And Leslie County also had storm damage Sunday night, but the city of Hyden had more to worry about. The Middle Fork of the Kentucky River flooded Riverfront Park just days after they finished cleaning up from flooding that happened back in February. WYMT's Emily Bennett talked to the mayor yesterday about having to start all over again.
After months of flood cleanup,
we thought we were pretty safe from floods until this happened.
Mayor Carol Joseph finds herself surrounded by floodwaters in Riverfront Park yet again.
It was disappointing on account of that we had just paid to get all the debris cleaned up from the last flood, and we're going to start working on it this week to prepare for our summer programs when the quarantine's over.
Joseph heard the wind Sunday night and thought she would wake up to major wind damage, but she never thought she would see this.
But I worried about everybody in town, but I had no idea we would have a flood when I get up this morning.
After the flood in February, they filed with FEMA, but they are still waiting for a judgment.
We were in the process of getting estimates and finding out how much it would cost, and then some of the work we can do ourselves, and we were prepared to start doing that. We were actually going to start this week, but now we won't be able to.
Thankfully, the only cleanup they completed was clearing debris and mud. They had not started sanitizing or repainting.
The virus kept us from repainting and doing all the things we had to do to get the park ready to go, so it didn't ruin all that again. So we just have to start over, and we have hope.
Staying positive through this bitter blow. In Hyden, Emily Bennett, WYMT Mountain News.
Now, the park has been closed since the February flood and is now closed due to COVID-19. Mayor Joseph hopes to be able to sanitize and repaint soon to have the park open this summer. And the Floyd County Sheriff's Office announced on Facebook that someone was rescued from high waters in the Martin area late last night. In the post, they share that the person held onto a tree for more than 1 hour before crews were able to get them out of that water. Crews from the Martin Fire Department, Kentucky State Police, and the Floyd County Sheriff's Office all worked together on the rescue. We do not know the person's identity at this time or their condition after being rescued. This is a developing story, and we will continue to update you as we learn more and have it on our website at WYMT.com. And aside from high water, people in Floyd County also had to deal with road closings and power outages. Highway 122 from McDowell to Wheelwright was shut down due to multiple power lines and poles scattered in the middle of the road. That road has since then been reopened, but many are still without power.
The power is going to be out through at least tonight for the majority of these folks that are currently without power, maybe into tomorrow, maybe tomorrow afternoon. So we're telling folks you need to prepare tonight.
And last night, the state of Kentucky passed 2 benchmarks in the coronavirus outbreak, surpassing 2,000 cases and 100 deaths. 87 new cases and 7 new deaths were announced, bringing Kentucky's total to 2,048 cases and 104 deaths. The governor directed that flags at all state office buildings be lowered to half staff for 1 week to honor all of those who died. And as the governor's news conference, 30 of those deaths stemmed from long-term care facilities. And as promised, 1 more drive-through testing centers are coming to Kentucky. Governor Beshear says the state is partnering with Kroger to get them set up. One of the first is in Franklin County. Kroger's providing medical staff, protective gear, and the registration site to help test 20,000 people over the next 5 weeks. UPS and Gravity Diagnostics are also helping out in order to get a 48-hour turnaround on those results.
Quick update on the power outage situation. I just crunched the numbers again, updated those totals on WYMT.com, and we are now down to less than 50,000 without power this morning. And I know that's a huge number still for a lot of folks who are in the dark, myself included, but that's down from more than 70,000 yesterday morning. So that's a big decrease in the last little bit. Hopefully we'll see more today. Let's take a look at our temperatures right now, and they're chilly. So again, we got to get this power back on, and those crews are working hard. They brought in out-of-state help. So again, it's just going to be a matter of time after all that damage. 32 Williamsburg, 34 Harlan, basically 30s everywhere this morning with the exception of Jonesville at 41. Emoji cast today, a dreary day. We'll see that rain transition to snow as we head deeper into the nighttime hours, clearing skies, but still cool on your Wednesday. And then Thursday, a little bit more sun and a little warmer as well. Lacey.
Thank you, Brandon. And thank you for joining us on Mountain News this morning. More news is on the way. Coming up, we take a look at how factory production is being changed to help the nationwide medical supply shortage.